10 at 10.
Piles of paper filled with answers the city of Buffalo is looking for about a proposed $15 million pig farm coming to town. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Buffalo residents today hand-delivered 130 petition signatures to the state health department against the 9,000-head facility looking to move in.
All saying no to Rolling Green's family farms. And tonight they gathered looking for answers. Valley News Team's Krista Boehm returned to Buffalo and has this update.
Injecting this into the soil.
Leanne Stout and Craig Wendt are armed with hundreds of pages of knowledge on the swine facility that's pushing to move next door to their homes.
A 200-page document that has to do with the Rolling Green Farms and their proposal for waste management, which is a big concern.
Stacks of documents from the state health department they received after handing in their petition against Rolling Green family farms.
I needed to know what guidelines and rules and laws they are following because the average citizen here in Buffalo doesn't know what that is.
They're concerned about their health, air, and water quality and have flooded NDSU swine specialist David Newman with questions.
This is from my perspective, from science-based information that we have. You know, there's really not a big human health concern.
The pig farm came as a surprise to Buffalo after their own research uncovered complaints surrounding a similar one owned by the same company in South Dakota.
We're really questioning the economic impact. If it's so good for us, why didn't we know about it?
I visited one of these hog farms.
But Rodney Hogan, who owns Red Trail Vineyard, which is just down the road, seems to be one of the few supporters.
I talked to the neighbors that live around them, and I talked to one of the local bankers about the economic development.
Thinking about using the fertilizer from the farm himself. And as far as the smell?
Does pig manure stink? The answer is yes. Airborne pathogens, these type of words that have been, talked about in terms of human health that's in the air, it's just not true.
I went by NDSU's swine facility, and I went by the city lagoons in West Fargo. I went by the ethanol plant. And the worst place was actually the lagoons in West Fargo. I didn't smell anything at the swine farm.
Krista Boehm, Valley News Live.
There's more discussion planned at the state health department in mid-March. Buffalo residents are hoping to visit a swine facility before then. The state health department must approve the plans before anything is built. We were first alerted to this story on the Whistleblower Hotline. If you need help uncovering fraud or corruption in your community, call the number on your screen, 701-237-6576, and leave your tip.
The average cost for childcare is around $10,000 per child a year, according to childcareaware.org. And we often hear from parents that providers are hard to find. Valley News Team's Nicole Johnson sat down with a Moorhead preschool director and asked why there's such a shortage of childcare in the valley. She told us it's hard to find good workers and even harder to keep them around. And when childcare providers find qualified, passionate people, they have to pay them more, driving up costs for parents.
Times are changing. Times are really changing. We're finding that people stay in the field longer than they used to. Even programs. I was really sad to see a place close because that means that's 30-some available spots that are no longer available, and the community has to try to absorb that, and it's just difficult.
Parents' concerns over child care have been heard by Minnesota lawmakers. Some House Republicans have formed a special committee on affordable child care, and they plan to study the shortages.
There are many ways to plan for retirement, from IRAs to 401ks to pensions. Their plans are supposed to provide a sense of security as people age. But what happens when money you were expecting is drastically cut? The Central States Pension Fund serves UPS drivers, SuperValue workers, Associated Milk producers, and more. 16 active business employees in North Dakota rely on. The fund recently sent out a letter saying as of July 1st of this year, pension benefits would be cut in half to, quote, ensure that our fund will continue providing pension benefits for many years in the future. Now, some had to retire early, forcing them to take $1,000 fewer dollars per month.
I don't know what to do. I really don't. I don't know what's going to happen.
Are you scared?
Yeah, I am. I really am.
We understand the pension is a problem. We are in agreement that we could take a cut. We're just not in agreement that 50% is the right amount.
If the benefits are cut in half, North Dakotans could lose nearly $200 million in benefits.
We keep talking about declining oil prices and rig counts in the Bakken. Despite the decline, production has remained steady and certain jobs are still in high demand. Ron Ness with the North Dakota Petroleum Council says oil production is still hovering around 1 million barrels of oil per day, which means producing jobs are still in need. That includes drivers to transport oil, operators for maintaining oil and gas wells, production foremen, drillers, and field technicians. Reports show salaries have remained competitive despite the drop in oil prices. One would hope that the taxi cab you take home is being driven by a licensed driver. However, many cab drivers here in the Valley say loose regulations on cab drivers are making it easier for anyone to wait outside in that cab lineup.
Valley News Team's Cornelius Hawker spoke with a cab driver who recently confronted a man he says was posing as a cab driver. Cornelius?
Andrea, Mike, they're called Gypsy cab drivers, drivers who are flying under the radar, posing as legitimate cab drivers, oftentimes price gouging patrons who unknowingly get in their car after a night out at the bar. We received this video from a viewer. You can see Fargo police confronting a man other cab drivers say is a Gypsy cab driver. The person who shot this video says cab drivers like him pose a huge risk to public safety.
In the public's best interest to know that the cab driver isn't, like I said, a sex offender or some sort of criminal, and that the cab that they're riding in is fully insured. They take advantage of customers. They come out of a bar drunk, it's cold, they hop in a minivan that looks like a cab, and then they pay whatever, 20, 30 bucks to go home, when most cab fares in Fargo are less than 10 bucks.
Tomorrow, the city of Fargo will be addressing this issue at a meeting, which I'll be attending. Whatever actions they plan to take, we'll have for you on Valley News Live 10 at 10 tomorrow. Andrea?
All right, thanks, Cornelius. And if you missed this report, we'll post it again on valleynewslive.com.
Good news tonight for Moorhead taxpayers. The Moorhead public school system is saving them $18 million. You'll be paying $79 for a $150,000 home beginning next year, which is an almost $20 drop from the $96 you'll be paying this year if you live in Moorhead.
We had to certify the levy before we actually went out and sought those proposals for the bonds. And today, this morning, they came in at 2.78%, far below the 3.5% that was estimated that they were going to come in at.
LUNAC says decreases in revenue seen in the budget are attributed to erring on the side of conservatism, along with an ending of a one-year revenue source that helped them with the development of their teacher evaluation process.
Fargo-based company Swanson Health Products has been sold to a California equity firm, but the CEO says no jobs will be lost in the move. Swanson Health has been in business for the last 47 years, and owner Lee Swanson is retiring. And the health product company was sold to Swander Pace Capital. The CEO says the 525 people employed in Fargo will remain here and adds that Swanson Health in Fargo will become a hub with a heavier focus on internet sales and natural beauty products.
The North Dakota State Fair has announced this year's concert lineup. Kenny Chesney, Kiss, Fall Out Boy, Jake Owen, Billy Currington, Old Dominion, and Low Cash are all set to perform July 22nd through the 30th. The fair will begin and end with rock concerts, with Fall Out Boy on the 22nd and Kiss on the final night.
It's so exciting, and this early in the year, you know, we get the big ones done usually very early, but then we always fight to get one or two of the end ones, and so we're really excited to announce today.
Tickets will go on sale March 1st at 8 in the morning. You can buy tickets at ndstatefair.com.